What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Twisted 20s podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to reminding you of your God-given purpose through personal testimonies, trials, and personal revelations. I believe that God has called and created each and every single one of us with a purpose for a purpose, but it is up to us to align with it. I'm your host, Louise, and I hope that you enjoy today's episode. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Twisted 20s podcast. It's your girl, Louise. I am so excited for today's episode. This episode is going to be short, sweet, and it's just going to be an episode to really encourage you guys. I wanted this episode. This is the last episode for the waiting season series. I'm going into spending intimate time with God this week to see what it is that He needs me to go into next for this the next couple episodes for the rest of the month. But I just wanted to remind you guys that when we are waiting on the promises of God, we have to remain faithful. Something my spiritual mom taught us over these past few weeks. We've been studying the disciples. And this past week in Bible study, we talked about Philip. And she was teaching us about how Philip was a practical man. And the example she gave was, we read it in the Bible when they were feeding, how Jesus fed everybody, all the 5,000 with the 5 loaves and the fish and everything like that. And he asked Philip, Philip, what we gonna do? Like, what would you do? And Philip was like, shoot. And I'm putting this in my own terminology, y'all. Y'all can go and read the scripture itself, but I'm putting it in a way that y'all can literally understand it. Philip was basically like, I don't know, bro, you look, what we gonna do? Cause I ain't got no money. Okay. We only got 1 loaf of bread. What is we about to do? Basically, that's how he was, right? And so how my spiritual mom broke it down to us was, you cannot be, in this next season that you're going into, you cannot be practical. Faith and practical don't go together. And when she said that to me, I was just like, wow. So I want to encourage you guys, while you are in your waiting season, to don't allow yourself to be practical. Don't allow yourself to be so logical that you don't see the promises of God. Because honestly, the one thing I've learned, most times when God gives us a vision, it doesn't make sense. When God gave me a vision of me working in the movie industry, I'm like, God, I'm working at Nordstrom right now. I'm working a 9 to 5. It don't make sense to me logically. I don't know how I'm going to get there, especially when I don't have the full education. I'm struggling to find a job in that career field. All these different things. I have the gift of writing. I've written several things, but I personally don't know how I'm going to get there. So what God is showing me doesn't make sense. God is showing me, hey, you and Davion are going to get a house. You guys are going to get married. You guys are going to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, my bank account said no to a house. My bank account said, you're not getting a house right now. But that's what God promised us. So even though it doesn't make sense to you in your mind, don't allow what doesn't make sense to you that God is going to do in your life. Don't allow the fact that it doesn't make sense to you to prevent you from having the faith that God will do it. So while you are in your waiting season, let your faith be bigger. Let your faith be stronger than what your mind is telling you is impossible. Because everything that's impossible, God, it is possible through God. I will give y'all another example. My spiritual mom, and I love talking about her, and I love sharing her story. And I hope to have her on the podcast one day, because her testimony it's amazing. But let me tell you this. My spiritual mom, she went through a lot in life. She went through molestation. She went through rape. She used to be a stripper. She went through a lot of things. And one of the things, she lost one of her ovaries, and God promised her that she would have a son. And the doctors told her, hey, it's impossible. Like, you're not going to be able to have a son. You don't even have another ovary. What happened was they accidentally took her ovary out in a surgery that she was having. So she wasn't even supposed to be able to have her son. And so she told them, God told me I'm going to have a son. God showed me what he looked like, what his name is, everything. She had faith that she would have her son, his name is Zachariah. And what happened? She got pregnant, and the ovary that was missing, literally God gave her another ovary so that she could give birth to Zachariah. After she gave birth to Zachariah, that ovary was gone. So I'm using her as an example, and I know she wouldn't mind me using her as an example, but I'm using her as an example because I want you guys to understand that what is possible. I will give you guys another example just based on my own life. Last year, Davion and I went to Kia. My spiritual mom was in town, and I had to go get an oil change. And she said, okay, I'll go with you. And we go to Kia, and before we walked in, she looked me in my face, and she said, you guys are going to leave here with two vehicles. And I was like, now me being me, I'm like, okay, good. I believed it, because one thing about me, I grew up in delusion. Okay. As a child, the Lululemon was my favorite place to be. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was going to be the next That's So Raven. I was going to be the next big Disney Channel star. Like, I lived in a place, because I was the only child, I lived in different worlds mentally. So I always thought that the impossible could become possible. So it's not hard for me to believe in the impossible. Sometimes it's challenging, especially when it's something that I strongly desire and it's not happening at my particular pace, which I talked about this, trusting God's timing. But it's not hard for me to actually believe that God could do something that's impossible to man. So she said, you guys are going to walk out of here with two vehicles. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Hey, I'm down for it. So we go in, I get my oil change. We look around and everything. We test drive a few vehicles. We come back in. I pick out the car I wanted. At this time, Davion hadn't even picked out the car he wanted. It was just me. And so as we were working with the sales lady, she's like, oh, well, how much do you make? I had my check stubs I could pull them up online. Davion, on the other hand, didn't have his check stubs. Okay. I want you to remember that he did not have check stubs. He did not have proof of nothing when it came to getting paid from a job. Right. So we working with the lady, Papa Alwyn, my spiritual father, he gets on the phone. I'm like, well, I'm going to talk to my dad about it. When I tell y'all, Papa Alwyn came through. He talked to them people in ways I never even knew. He was asking questions that I never even knew to ask. And I think the outer door price for the car, it went down like $10,000, maybe like $5,000 to $10,000. I don't exactly remember the amount. But anyway, do you know, Davion and I walked out of there with two cars on one proof of income, which was mine. One proof of income. I got a car note. He got a car note, and we're on each other's car notes. But the fact of the matter is, we got approved for 2 car loans on one proof of income. One, mine. Because I'm the only one that had the proof of the check stubs. He didn't have his check stubs. That's impossible. But it was not impossible for God. Our car literally was about to give out on us on the way to the dealership. There was no way that Davion was going to be able to drive that car home, even if I got the car. I'm saying all this to say, I'm giving you guys these examples because I want you to understand, when you are in your waiting season, be patient. Allow your faith to stand strong and firm on the promises and the word of God. And how you do that is by spending time with God, staying in his word, meditating on his promises, meditating on his word, reminding yourself constantly, even if you have to, the enemy, he's not going to do it. Even if you have to remind yourself of what God does. I've said this on my podcast before. I keep a journal. I literally track. I have a journal entry in my notes on my phone called Marking God's Faithfulness. And if I ever feel discouraged in my waiting season, I will literally go and look at that, because I have a whole list of things that God has done in my life, that he has been faithful and kept his word about. And when I'm in moments of my own waiting season where I feel like giving up, where I feel like my faith is wavering, I can look back and say, well, God did this on this day. I know that he will accomplish everything else that he said that he would. Because God is not like man. We fickle. We sometimey. We inconsistent. We lie. God never lies. He is a man of his word. And because of that, we can stand strong and stand on faith, stand 10 toes behind him, and know that whatever he said he will do, he will do. But we also have to do our part as well. So like I said, this episode was going to be short, you guys. I'm going to be spending some time with God this week, because I want to know what the next thing is that he wants me to do. I will probably be taking a week or two off next month for my birthday. Okay. And also, don't you guys forget, Coming Into Womanhood is coming out on July 22nd. It will be available on Barnes & Noble. It will be available on Amazon, Google. It will also be available. It will be available as an ebook as well as a physical book as well. So I'm really excited about that. It's something that I've really worked really, really hard on. I've been writing it for, I started writing it last year, and then I literally just finished it this year, but it's something I'm really excited about. It's my life's journey. Everything that I've gone through in life from childhood leading up to this very moment is in that book. Everything, homelessness, my mom's death, dealing with grief, dealing with suicide, dealing with addiction, dealing with sexual immorality, sleeping around, my college years. I have literally poured my heart and soul into this book, and I'm so excited for it. I would probably, give my Twisted 20s family some sort of discount, because hey, y'all the TTS fam, okay? And this is my baby. Like, my podcast is my baby, but my first book is like I'm giving birth to another child. And so I'm really excited to share this book with the world. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode, this little bit of encouragement. I hope that it encourages you. And if you haven't heard the complete waiting season series, I encourage you to go and listen to the other episodes, so that you can be encouraged, strengthened, and just standing strong, standing bold in your faith, in your belief in what God is going to do in your life. I love each and every single one of you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.